looking very much forward to welcoming Thomas Krog Jensen, the CEO of Copenhagen FinTech. Thomas is a long-time supporter and collaborator of Gaia, and we are grateful for that and for the collaboration and not least your support. And we're grateful also that you'll step up today and moderate our next panel on artificial intelligence and advanced technologies in the financial sector. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you so much, Søren, and thank you so much for inviting me to moderate this amazing panel that we have today. So I'm just in the interest of time, because I know we are a little bit pressed for time. So I'm just going to invite Lisa, Mary, Casper, and Vinicius to the virtual stage here. Let's see if we can get, yeah, and then I think we'll just get Casper in. Amazing, all here. Hi. So yes, again, thank you so much, both to you, Elise, and to you, Søren, for inviting me to moderate this amazing panel. I think what is really interesting in this context is, and especially looking at financial services, is that one of the reports that we often use in our work in this field is a report from Citi, and what they stated was that one of the biggest single investors, or the biggest single investor in AI on a global basis outside of the tech sector itself, is actually financial services. It's also one of the most data-rich sectors, right? So there's no doubt that financial services has a tremendous impact in our lives, and also why this topic is so important when it comes to responsible and ethical use of technology, and especially in this context, AI. So in the interest of time, I'm going to ask my panelists here to introduce themselves. So please, Lisa, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. Tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, and also why you do it. So please, Lisa, go ahead.
Thank you, Thomas. And I'm really excited to be here. I'll start with that. My name is Lisa Guadagno, and most of my career I've been in financial services, working for large global banks. My last role was at HSBC, where I was head of innovation for the Americas. Since then, I'm doing some advising for some fintechs and some VC funds, as well as some consulting, and I'm a board member for a few fintechs as well. Recently, also, I shouldn't forget this, I recently helped launch a new innovation company, actually last week, which was really exciting. So the question about why do I do this? I think mainly I've had a lot of learnings over the years. Both some that I'm proud of and some that I'm probably not so proud of. But they are learnings. And if I'm able to take those learnings and share those with others so that they can leapfrog and progress even faster, then that feels to me like success. So that's why I do what I do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lisa. Over to you, Mary.
Much. My name is Mary Engin. I'm an associate professor of international economics based here at Koç University, Istanbul. And I mainly work on international financial institutions with a particular emphasis on computational social science methods, including machine learning, natural language processing, as well as AI governance. I also happen to be one of the co-founders of Initiate Digital Rights in Society, which is an initiative on algorithmic governance. Why did we establish that? Maybe that could be a question I can answer. Well, we're aiming to facilitate a progressive global dialogue addressing key issues raised by algorithmic governance. I'll pause here.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. And then I'll jump to you, Vinicius. Will you give a short intro to yourself?
Hi, thank you, Thomas. Very glad to be here. I'm Vinicius Klein from Brazil. I am professor at the University of Paraná, the University of Paraná. I teach law and economics, and I mainly focus my research on regulation and competition. And I think that is important, is a way that society tries to understand and tries to direct markets and innovation, and that's a very important tool in my point of view. I think that's a reason to keep researching and doing work on this topic.
Thanks. Casper, last but not least.
Thank you. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for inviting me here. My name is Casper Wiltrup. I have worked my entire career on and off with the symbolic artificial intelligence. So that is a subfield of artificial intelligence where you try to think rationally, more like a human, and encode the logical reasoning that humans apply. Recently, that has morphed into being more hybrid, where we work a lot with combining symbolic and sub-symbolic processes to come very close to like human level capabilities on both. I am leading a Danish and Spanish research company called Absu, where we both research and build systems such as the ones I described. And I think that being where I am, I think that we're at a watershed moment actually in AI. This is a moment where things are rapidly changing, and I think this is exactly the time where we need to have this global conversation. I'm super happy that we are having it now, and that's been had in so many places, because the potential and the impact of the technology here, I think people are starting to realize it, and they're not wrong. It's going to be huge.
And then jumping right into it on that note, Casper, then I think I'm actually going to start with you then. And then I'm going to ask you, all of you, to kind of give your definition. If we talk about, and there's a lot of talk, and especially here in the region where I'm from, in the Nordics, there's a lot of talk about ethical AI. So I'm just going to ask each one of you to give your definition on what we're all talking about. But sometimes I have the feeling that we come from different places, right? And then we mean different things when we talk about ethical AI. So starting with you, Casper, your definition on ethical AI, what is it?
Yes, that's very true. We're not always talking about the same thing. And it actually comes down to the fact that we don't always agree on what ethics even is. Unless we define very clearly what we consider ethical, what we consider the values that we want to preserve or not bend too much, then it's going to be very hard to determine whether or not a certain decision or a tool is going to violate that. So it starts with defining the common, and since we're having this conversation on a global scale, the common global definition of what is actually ethical. And that is in itself super hard and way beyond the discussion of tech's impact on it. Then whenever we have a new tool, and that's regardless of whether it's a hammer or AI, we can make the assessment of how do we use this tool in such a way as to not destroy those values that we just agreed on are precious. So that's a meta definition. So I'll still say, for me, an ethical application of AI is an application that is transparent, it is inclusive, and it complies with all the human rights that we have taken quite some time to agree on as a species.
And then just before I jump on to the next one, then I'm just gonna, because now you said it yourself, like this is a global thing. We need to, we need to understand this on a global level, and we need to agree on a global level on the ethical standards for this. So can we even do that, Casper? Is that, looking back at human history, is that even possible?
No, and I don't think we have to. Like, what we have to do is we have to agree on a common set of values that we want to our technology use to comply with. And that does not rule out that individual jurisdictions or even industries can have a different, typically a superset of those values that those are governed by. So I think the discussion about the values is super important, but we shouldn't hold ourselves back from implementing or using our tools in a way that are compatible with the local view of what are the current most important ethical principles that we feel governed by.
Okay. I'm going to turn to you, Mary, just to ask you the same question. What is your definition of ethical AI?
Well, actually, I guess I'm just going to build on what Casper already said, because there are some keywords that we probably all are using, referring to ethical and responsible AI, such as transparency, human rights, fairness and accountability. But to have a more holistic understanding of ethical AI with a particular focus on ensuring the benefits of AI are accessible